I belong with you.
No, you don't.
I'm coming.
Bella, I don't want you to come. Bella, I don't want you to come. Bella, I don't want you to come. Bella, I don't want you to come with me.
I'm Peter Lambert, and I'm the editor of the film. I've been working on the film since 6 weeks before shooting. I talked with Chris about ideas about how transitions might work from one scene to another. I cut storyboards together to see what they'd actually look like and played them with music and sometimes bits of dialogue or subtitles. Then through shooting, I was working the whole time in order to have a working version of the film by the end of the shoot. Every scene in the movie will be shot from a variety of angles, numerous times. And our job in editing is by cutting from these shots regularly to construct a scene where every moment is played out in the most dynamic or emotional or funny or moving way possible, and which is most befitting for where that scene fits within the whole movie.
Bella? Bella? Bella, I don't want you to come.
It changes things. A lot.
Quite often, we make a decision that the way it was played out in the first place isn't the best way to do it, or the way we originally imagined it and the way we originally edited it. We'll get an idea and think about maybe trying to change it. There's a moment in the film, towards the end of the movie, when Arrow, the head of the Volturi, is about to kill Bella. And in the original version of the scene, he moves his hand into what we call the kind of high-five karate death chop in order to kill her. But fairly recently, after actually discussion with Stephanie about that moment, a couple of ideas came up. One was that it would be very cool if, when Arrow says the line,
"If only it were your intention to give her immortality,"
we should have like a beat where Edward is almost given the opportunity to say, "I will make her immortal." So it's like an offer that just hangs there. But the other thing was, we kind of thought that maybe the high-five karate death chop wasn't the most scary way of playing that moment, and that we didn't want it to look in any way kind of pantomime-like. So we, through stealing parts from different parts of the dailies, we can construct a different way of playing it out. Something more like this.
Wait! Bella will be one of us. I've seen it.
We began with a 3-hour assembly of the film, and a lot just went out just through cutting out the unnecessary sort of more lingering, breathy beats. The other thing that happened is that we find scenes that not only we think are unnecessary, but very often we feel are actually distracting or going against the way the overall story is working. And we now have a final cut which is just over 2 hours. The date of the release of the film has been on our minds from before shooting, which has been incredibly exciting. We've wanted to show little examples of what we're doing to fans throughout the shoot and throughout post-production, and that's meant that we've had to be turning over sequences for visual effects from a very early stage. When a big visual effects sequence or a big set piece is shot, it comes to me with just very basic elements. And generally, in the case, for example, of a wolf fight, that will be a series of shots of just empty fields or meadows. And it's our job in the first stages of editing to construct sequences and to use our imaginations, basically, in order to work out what might be going on within those shots. We've tried to be pretty faithful to the book. That's been Chris's maxim the whole way through. So our hope is that if people like the book a little bit, they'll like New Moon a little bit. And I think people hopefully will appreciate that shots which could have been held 12 frames too long have been cut in exactly the right moments.
At the same time, you're editing together the movie, and you're working on the music, and you are working on the sound effects, and all kinds of other processes are going on. We're getting score from Alexandre Desplat, who is posting temporary score to us and emailing him back, getting a back and forth with him about how the score is going to fit into its different spots.
Tie coats, just timp.
Alexander, our composer, made a temporary version of tracks, which will eventually be recorded, and Chris will go to London to the recording to be there for that.
We've got the London Symphony Orchestra playing for us, one of the greatest orchestras in the world, so the amazing thing is how quickly they get it.
There's a lot of minutes to record, 80 minutes of music. Sometimes when you watch a film, you don't realize that there's so much music going on behind the dialogues and the action, but it's a huge part of the post-production moment.
The idea was to have it all be through the main character, Bella's point of view, so that no matter what theme was playing, they all kind of locked into one another.
Now, from 56 onwards, the piano will be a leader. We just recorded the final scene when Bella says goodbye to Jacob and Edward offers to marry her. So it's quite a big scene. Music is another actor. My main goal is always to bring to the audience what is not on screen. I think the subtext, the unspoken is more important in the music, because only the music can bring that in a very subtle way and subliminal way to the ears and to the heart of the audience.
Once we've got this, we have all of our kind of contemporary, pop or rock, or whatever you want to call it, indie tracks that are also going to go into the film. And I go back to Los Angeles, finish coloring the film, which is, I'm doing digital intermediate, so that we're doing sort of the same thing with the colors of the film that we're doing here with the music of it.
Okay, wait, let's see the top again.
We've taken everything into a digital atmosphere, and we're manipulating pixels. With our modern technology, we can dynamically affect different parts of the image. We can change the color of backgrounds. We can make a forest more green. There's really not much of a limit to what we can do when we've got a good colorist.
And then 2 or 3 weeks of mixing all of the sounds together so that the score fits in with the dialogue and the Foley artists work to, make the opening of doors and footsteps and all that kind of stuff, and just make sure that everything works harmoniously.
Go home. And don't come back, or you're gonna get hurt.
I hope that audiences will love New Moon if they're familiar with the books, because it delivers on what the book does to them, and that it's a kind of a vision of the book that satisfies them as a reader, with action and romance and all kinds of good stuff that people used to go to the movies for. But that's for them to say, not me, I think. It was a fantastic experience for me making it. I learned a lot.